Okay, so for compound, the definition is this. Okay, important to remember when you talk about compound, right? It's actually a substance, okay, that contains two or more elements. And then the very important words you cannot forget is to put in that these, okay, elements are chemically combined together, right? So for example, to get water, water is a compound. Okay, water is formed from hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. So basically, we are burning hydrogen gas in oxygen to form water. Okay, so this is an element. This is an element, and this is a compound. All right. So you have to see hydrogen is actually a gas that is very combustible. You know, the sun is made of hydrogen, right? It's always burning. So if you have hydrogen gas in our atmosphere, you can see mini explosion, you know. Okay, I'm not too sure whether you have done the test for hydrogen gas yet. Some schools will allow the students to do it. Okay, some schools wait for later. So hydrogen gas is represented by the formula H2. Okay, if you test for hydrogen gas, you actually introduce, this is like, you know, satay stick, we call it a wooden splint. We will burn at the end of one of the tip first. So there's a flame, right? We will blow it out. The moment we blow it out, let's say we have a test tube here, okay? And these test tube, you usually will stopper it first, or you use your tongue to cover the mouth of the test tube. Then you bring, okay, your burning, okay, the burning one, right? The one with the flame, okay, the wooden splint with the flame, put it near the mouth of the test tube. And then you're going to hear a pop sound. All right. Sometimes the flame extinguishes, sometimes it doesn't. Okay. Then to test for oxygen, okay, now we are going to use the wooden splint that is glowing at the tip. What's the meaning of glowing? You blow out the flame, the tip looks like joystick like that, right? Burning. Okay, burning without the flame. All right. Then you have your test tube of oxygen gas. Again, use your thumb or put a stopper over it. When you are ready to test for the gas, remove the stopper or remove the thumb. I usually like to use thumb because faster reaction. So when I remove my thumb from the mouth of the test tube, I introduce the glowing splint into the test tube. I will see that it will light up. The splint starts burning. Okay, so that's how we test for the two gases. You haven't learned yet, I hope your teacher will allow you to try it. Usually they will start with the test for hydrogen first, and it's very, very fun. So when I brought my students to the science lab, they will go pop, 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 pop everywhere. Okay, not everybody can get the result lah. Okay, why is that so? Because hydrogen gas is very light. The moment you remove your thumb from the mouth of the test tube and you're not fast enough, right? Okay, you're not fast enough to put the burning splint near the mouth of the test tube, hydrogen gas already escaped. Okay, and then you cannot test for the gas. Right, so you look at properties of water. Okay, what can you tell me about properties of water? Water is actually colorless. Imagine this is my glass. I have water inside. It's colorless. It's also odorless, right? It's in liquid
It
form.
is also in liquid form in room temperature.
Also tasteless.
Yeah, tasteless. Sometimes we feel that water contains certain taste, right? It's because of the minerals inside. At different parts of Singapore, different parts of the country, you will find that the tap water tastes different. Okay, how about hydrogen and oxygen gas? They are gases, right? Okay. Actually, they are also colorless and odorless. They are gases, but hydrogen, okay, is combustible. You have mini explosion, something like that. Okay, whereas oxygen burns very well. Oxygen supports burning. But does water support burning? Is water combustible? No, right? Okay, so you start thinking, how are the properties of water different from that of hydrogen and oxygen? Very, very different. In fact, we use water to put out fire, isn't it? But then oxygen supports burning. This one, hydrogen gas, also supports burning, is combustible. Okay, so compounds are very different, all right? Compounds have very different properties, unique properties, I would say, compared to its constituent elements. What do I mean by constituent elements? The elements that they are being made up of. Okay, example, water. Water is a compound, is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. So the properties of water is totally different from the properties of hydrogen and oxygen. Clear? You might want to note this down. How come I can't see your face anymore?
Don't
I can only
know.
see now. Just now was okay, suddenly disappear. Okay, from their constituent elements. Okay, it's good that you write this down. Can, or you screenshot? If I go by the formula, it looks like this. You don't have to know about many of the formulas. Simple ones you must know. H2O is water, H2 is hydrogen, O2 is oxygen. Okay, the letter already tells you what element it is, and you can identify them from the periodic table. Remember? Yeah. So the balancing of equation, how come there's a 2 here? There's a 2 here. You will only learn when you do chemistry in Sec 3. So don't do it now. Right, compounds. This is how water molecule looks like. In fact, I do have this ball and stick thing, you know. Okay, they are the plastic balls and the plastic sticks, so I can actually make different kinds of molecules. So a chemical formula describes the number. Okay, they tell you the number and the type of elements that are present. So if you look at water here, water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen, right? So H2O, it says that it has 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. Can you understand the representation so far? Okay. So how about this? It is nitrogen dioxide, constituent elements of the compound. Okay, I can say that this is like 1 nitrogen atom, 2 oxygen atoms. I can say that, right? Okay. Constituent elements, if they just ask you what are the elements that make up this compound, you only need to say nitrogen and oxygen. Okay, I kiasu a little bit. I even write down how many of each element. And limestone, okay, limestone we also can call it chalk, right? So the chalk, how many of you actually still use chalk? You went to IKEA, you buy the chalk, and then you have the blackboard and you start writing. Long ago, when I was a student, okay, in primary school, my teacher was using chalk and blackboard. Nowadays, no more, right? Okay.
Nowadays, they are replaced with markers and whiteboards.
Our house have blackboards.
Your house have, very dusty, if you use chalk. That is the reason why MOE actually stopped using, because the chalk powder, right, gets breathed in by the teacher, gets breathed in by the students, especially students sitting in the front, then their lungs will be affected. Okay, because of it's powdery, especially when you're cleaning off the chalk dust flies everywhere. Not to say that the whiteboard marker is perfect lah. You know, whiteboard marker still has got the dust particles, right? But it's actually a lot lesser compared to chalk. Correct. All right. So what can I say about this? It's made up of 1. Can I write smaller? Because got many to write down. So 1 calcium atom. Okay. What else? 1 You need to refer to the periodic table, no? To find out.
Calcium and I think that's carbon.
Okay.
Carbon and 3 oxygen.
All right. So 1 carbon atom. And then 3 oxygen atoms. Sulfuric acid.
H is hydrogen. Sorry, hydrogen. But then it's H2, so it's 2 hydrogen. S is sulfur, 1 sulfur because there's no number at the bottom, and 4 oxygen because there's a number at the bottom.
Right. Okay. So this is 4 oxygen atoms. What about sodium hydroxide?
1 sodium atom. 1 oxygen atom. And 1 hydrogen atom.
Yes, correct. And then 1 hydrogen atom. Aspirin. Aspirin is the medication for headache, right, and pain. Unluck? Is it 1?
No. C is carbon, but then there's a 9, so it's 9 carbon atoms. H is hydrogen, there are 8 hydrogen atoms, and as per usual, O is oxygen, 4 oxygen atoms.
Okay.
This is kind of getting used to.
Quite easy, right? Okay, Zishan, next one.
1 calcium. 2 oxygen. Wait, 1 calcium atom, 2 oxygen atom. And 2 hydrogen atom.
Okay, you know what's the meaning of bracket 2, huh?
I did math.
Huh? Or you made a guess only?
I did math.
Okay, what about if I ask you to look at this one? Huh? Would you be able to tell me?
2 hydrogen atom. 3. Wait, let me check what's P.
Phosphor something thing.
1 3 phosphorus. And 12 oxygen atom.
Correct. Okay. So this
How come
one.
it's 3 phosphorus? Oh wait, I get it. Oh wait, so that is what you meant.
Yeah. So when you have a bracket 3, it means we just have to write down PO4, PO4, and PO4, right?
It's
Bracket
multiplication.
3. Okay. So if you can get this right, you have no problem when you move on to set 3. Okay. Now, I can write any weird formula lah. Doesn't mean it exists, just to test you on the number. Okay. Okay. How about this one?
Two carbon, 5 hydrogen. Huh? I can't read the last part.
1 cobalt, 1 oxygen, and 1 hydrogen.
But then there's already hydrogen at the front. Huh?
Write it again.
It looks to me as if all of them are capital letters.
Yes, they are capital letters.
Does it mean that it is